This is Nain, our Burmese python. He's currently about 4.5 years old and he's about 9 foot right now. As you can see, he's an absolute giant and he's probably taller than everyone in this family. We got him about 2 months ago and yeah, so far he's been absolutely amazing and such a good boy. Burmese pythons are probably the most controversial pet snake, and there's a few reasons why. As you can see, they're very big, just like Nain is here, and they also need to eat things like rabbits and chickens and sometimes even pigs. So there's a lot of reasons why they are very controversial. A lot of people say that they're terrible pets for beginners and you should never get on them unless you're experienced, and I to some extent agree with that. But I also think that if you can provide suitable living arrangements for them, they can be quite manageable. Pro number 1, they're typically really placid snakes, as you can see with Nain here. Before we got him, he hadn't been handled for over 6 weeks, and he's still really placid, as you can see. They're very unlikely to bite, unless of course they think you're food, or they think you're going to feed them. That's why I'd never recommend hand feeding a Burmese python, or any snakes in general for that matter, because they can mistake you for food, and with a snake of this size, that can be quite dangerous. Now for con number 1, they're giant. And that is obviously a great thing about some snakes, but obviously their size can mean they need a giant tank, a giant water bowl, and it can obviously mean you're going to need 2, preferably 3 people to handle them in the same room as you. I'm not alone in the room. We've got my mum in the back spectating, so if anything went wrong, I would be fine and Nain would be fine. But they are giant, but what you should never do is get a Burmese python in hopes that it's a male and it will stay small, because if it is a female, it can grow to 18, 19, maybe even 20 foot long. So you can't just trust that they're going to be small if they're a male. Pro number 2, their care requirements and temperament are pretty much similar to that of a ball python, but they're pretty much just scaled up. So they're going to be eating a lot bigger food, they're going to be needing a tank that's 30 times bigger, and they're just overall like a scaled up ball python, which are renowned for being one of the easiest pet snakes to keep. Con number 2, Burmese pythons can be very dangerous if you live alone. So if you live alone, or you have a dog or a cat, or an animal of the size that they might consider to be food, a Burmese python is pretty much a very bad idea, because they've been known to eat animals like alligators. So that's obviously a concern. So always have 2, preferably 3 people in the room when you're handling, feeding, cleaning your pet Burmese python. Pro number 3, they're incredible. There's so many amazing facts about Burmese pythons, and they're just awesome animals, as you can see with Nain here. As you can see, he's got a little bit of stuck shed on, so I'm just helping him get off. He had a bath yesterday to try and help him get that shed off. It's not too big of an issue, but it is going to be fixed soon. Something that I should note is that if you live in Florida, you probably won't be able to get a Burmese python at all, because they're actually invasive there, which means that they were introduced, and because they get so big, people have been getting rid of them in Florida, and they've become quite a big issue there, because unfortunately Florida is the perfect environment for them to thrive in, and so now unfortunately if you live in Florida, you cannot get a Burmese python as a pet. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you learn more about these amazing species. And remember, make sure not to buy a Burmese python as an impulse, or just because you think they're cool for a little while. Make sure you've got a lot of research, years of experience, and enough room for a giant tank, because they're absolutely huge.